Mike is one out of a growing number of single fathers in the country. The number of single dads raising kids all on their own has gone up ninefold since the 60s. Well, normally when a developer builds, they borrow money from a bank and the cost of construction is passed on to renters. So is that why housing is so overpriced, leaving Californians overwhelmed and over it? Will these changes bring down the 911 answering times in Oakland? And if they will, when? Several employees feel he has not been properly disciplined because he has a close relationship to you, as well as to your husband, a former Antioch police chief. How do you respond to that? And then there's an actual picture of a dinosaur that your program says needs to be killed while still in the egg.
I would say that Candice, Judy doesn't have the answers to these questions.
That voice off camera? That's Vallejo's public information officer, also known as a PIO.
Where did you pull it from? Yeah.
The city PIO. Don't blink, you might miss it. Around 1:20 a.m. June 29th last year, the front camera on Sam Tran's bus 448 records it driving by Menlo College on El Camino Real southbound. Then something comes into the frame. According to the timer in the video, the driver has less than 3 seconds to react when the woman appears on screen, walking in the middle of the dark road. It is so dark, a Good Samaritan has to wave at oncoming traffic to prevent the woman from being hit again. She died shortly after. Her name was Sol Gloria. She was a pastor's wife and a mother with dementia.
Love you.
I love you lalo. Ganda-ganda ginagalaw mo yan.
Thank you.
It's very hard.
Her daughter, Jerusha, reported her mother missing from their San Mateo home hours earlier.
I was so conscious of the temperature. And I just remember I kept thinking, oh, she's probably so cold right now. I can never, forget what I saw at the hospital. The person that I saw on the bed had brown hair. Like that can't be my mom. But when the nurses, led us closer to the bed, I realized that it was actually dried blood.
I just killed someone. I have nightmares.
Jimmy Marina was the driver behind the wheel. Months after the accident, he's talking with us about it for the first time.
I lost weight. I couldn't eat.
The police report shows Gloria was at fault for this collision for being in the road. But Marina believes if he was able to see Gloria earlier, he might have been able to avoid her.
They have to change the headlights. The headlights are the main issue here.
Have you reported this problem to your agency before about dim headlights?
I have, numerous times. Been wanting them for 2 years now.
Marina says those warnings were to his supervisors at MV Transportation, a private bus company Sam Trans contracts with for some of its fleet. He says after the crash, he elevated his concerns to Sam Trans with this legal claim, saying for years before that day, the buses that he was required to drive on the streets of San Mateo County were dangerous and defective in that they provided insufficient illumination. Last month, Sam Trans rejected his claim. We wanted to see for ourselves what the conditions were like the night of the accident. It is past 1 a.m. right now, and we're about to get on this bus that's headed down the same route. As we're driving down El Camino Real, as we're going through lights like this, and if there's other cars nearby, you can see the road. But when you're going through dark corridors like this, it gets pretty dark. Watching Sam Trans buses pass by, we noticed headlights vary in color and brightness. Some appear to be brighter white lights, others with dimmer yellow tinted lights. Sam Trans declined an interview with us, but said in an email, the facts of the case do not support the claim that headlights played any role in the collision. Marina disagrees.
They're not concerned about the safety of the public.
Over the phone and outside a recent union meeting, the investigative unit talked to 15 bus drivers who drive for Sam Trans through MV Transportation. All but 2 said they have difficulty driving at night due to headlight brightness and or alignment issues. Oscar Aguilar has been driving for 22 years.
I'm very sure the more incident or accident is coming. You know, change life, big trouble.
MV Transportation never responded to our questions, and Samtrans CEO and General Manager April Chan declined to speak with us on camera. Chan sent us a statement saying the buses undergo daily checks, which include inspection of headlights. She said our headlights meet industry standard requirements and are either LED or HID light bulbs, neither of which dim over time.
If there's nothing done to those, what we complain about as headlights, I'm not going back.
Happy memories.
Jerusha Gloria and her father are grateful Marina has come forward with an explanation. They say Samtrans never contacted them.
Their silence, right, is deafening. They're making me feel like my mom's life was worthless.
Oakland emergency number 19.
Hi, 6th and Jefferson. A police officer just got stabbed by a homeless person.
Officer Danny Chor was off duty when a woman stabbed him in the neck. The profusely bleeding officer used his cell phone to call 911, and his repeated calls failed to connect, according to a grand jury report at the time.
Yeah, a police officer just got stabbed.
Okay.
The caller is a waste management supervisor. You're hearing her voice because not only were the officer's 911 calls failing to connect, according to the report, her employee, a garbage truck operator who drove past the scene, also tried calling 911, and his calls also could not get through. You're hearing his voice only because he's on his supervisor's speakerphone as she called 911 for him. Details about this dangerous delay were published in the Civil Grand Jury's 2019-2020 report, which was prompted by a complaint about long 911 call wait times in Oakland. In 2020, Oakland's average 911 answering time was 28 seconds, nearly double the state and national standard of 15 seconds. According to state 911 data obtained by the investigative unit, Oakland's average 911 answering time has gotten far worse. This year, it's nearly doubled to 54 seconds.
I did call 911, and the experience is absolutely horrible.
Alan Liang owns an Oakland auto shop and uses this tow yard. He says he wishes his 911 calls were picked up in 54 seconds.
When I call 911, usually you're on hold for approximately 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
10 minutes before I arrive.
10 seconds.
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Just last week, Liang called 911 to report a missing person and says he was on hold for 7 minutes. Last September, he found a crushed body in his tow yard, and this happened.
So this is where I found the dead body a while back. I immediately dialed 911. I was placed on hold for maybe about 10 to 15 minutes.
And that's after Liang says his 911 calls repeatedly failed to connect, just like what happened with the stabbed officer. In a statement to us, a city spokesperson said long wait times for 911 callers are clearly unacceptable, and that Mayor Sheng Tao has directed that 911 call taker vacancies be given top-tier priority. But just last week, in the mayor's recently approved city budget, Mayor Tao froze a full-time communication dispatcher position. When we repeatedly asked to sit down with the mayor for an interview about that decision and Oakland's 911 system, she refused. After more than 2 months of unanswered emails and calls from the investigative unit to all of these Oakland officials about the dire state of the city's 911 system, a major announcement Monday.
Thanks to additional revenues collected this year, we are able to direct an additional $2.5 million over the next 2 years to strengthen our 911 response.
Several of them tell us Ken Turnage has not been properly disciplined, and they know why.
Oh, his personal relationship with our superintendent.
Because of his relationship with the superintendent's husband and the superintendent.
Ken Turnage is still there because of his relationship to the superintendent and probably more people downtown.
This picture isn't the start of the story or the end, but it might be the last chapter in Jim Kesser's 30-year career as a maintenance worker at Antioch Unified School District. He says his new boss, Ken Turnage, waited until he was not at work to trash his desk and then direct multiple district employees to use this forklift to put his desk on a roof in the district's maintenance yard, where he works. Besides it, a sign that read Kesser's Access and a ladder.
I literally was in the emergency room the next weekend. My wife said, "You're having panic attacks," and I thought I was having a heart attack.
Why do you think he put your desk on the roof?
I asked that question 100 times. At first I thought, he's bullying me for speaking out for a conversation we had a few months earlier where he asked me to do a job assignment, and I said, "I'm open to doing, whatever you ask me to do, but I just want to let you know, because you're new, I'm not a mechanic and I'm not an electrician." And he literally blew up at me.
When you say he blew up at you,
He
what
could
happened?
do it from 0 to 60 in 5 seconds.
It wasn't a joke. It was predatorial. It was bullying.
Kim Atkinson is the school district's purchasing technician. She handles district dollars and says this was not an appropriate way to use public resources.
We're a school district. Our money is for students, and we're spending money and employees' time and overtime to put a desk on a roof as a cruel bullying prank.
Kesser and Atkinson are two of about 10 Antioch Unified employees who've reported turnage to the district. Ken Turnage is the school district's director of maintenance, operations, and facilities. He oversees everyone in the department, including these 4 who provided the investigative unit copies of their complaints against him. They say his behavior put 3 of them on medical leave for stress and convinced Bruce Quartermunch to retire early.
I said, "I honestly feel like you're disrespecting me." And he did his little shoulder thing and he says, "Oh, I respect you." And I said, "Okay, thank you, I appreciate that." He stomped behind his desk, clenched his fist, did his thing, and he says, "I don't respect you. I don't respect you at all."
He's charged up on me, thought I was going to be physically assaulted.
I asked him where I could put my printer, and I was told I could put it on the roof.
We reached out to Turnage multiple times, but he didn't respond.
I believe in ecological balance.
He did speak with us back in 2020 during the height of COVID, right before he was removed as Antioch's planning commissioner for writing a lengthy social media post advocating for ending the shutdown and allowing the virus to kill off the weak and the elderly.
Is it something I'm advocating to happen? No, but it's nature's course.
Also on Facebook, photos that these employees say reveal a bigger problem. Why they believe 15 months after this roof incident, Turnage still hasn't been held accountable.
He is best friends with Stephanie Anello's husband.
Stephanie Anello is Antioch Unified superintendent. She's shown here near Ken Turnage, along with her husband, Alan Cantando, Antioch's former police chief. Cantando and Turnage are pictured together outside of work, over and over again, in different locations.
They go golfing together every weekend.
They're golf buddies, barbecue buddies.
I've seen him on the golf course. I golf. I literally saw him playing with Cantando and Stephanie Anello.
We took the allegations that Anello is failing to discipline Turnage because of his friendship with her and her husband straight to her and her husband. After multiple emails and calls, we never heard back. But we did get this email from the district's HR director saying AUSD takes all matters concerning our employees seriously. As this is a personnel matter, there will be no further comment. We still wanted to hear from the district's top official, so we went to last week's school board meeting. I'm here to speak to Superintendent Anello. You have not directly responded to any of my calls or my emails. You have received numerous complaints about Kenneth Turnage, and I want to ask you, has he been disciplined?
We can't talk about personnel.
He is accused of putting one of his employees' desk on a roof using district resources. What was your reaction to that? Several employees feel he has not been properly disciplined because he has a close relationship to you as well as to your husband, a former Antioch police chief. How do you respond to that? These employees say the silence makes them more uneasy.
Oh, I'm ready for complete retaliation.
I'm scared what he's going to do to me.
This problem, they say, doesn't just impact them, but Antioch schools too. Together, they represent nearly 7 decades of experience maintaining school district facilities.
I wanted to spend 2-3 more years. I loved my job.
And I wanted to work longer. There's no reason why I can't work longer.
Superintendent Anello, let me know if you change your mind about commenting. It's important to us that we get your side in our story.